There comes a moment when you realize it's impossible to move forward while you're still clinging to what's already gone. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's a dream that never came true. Sometimes it's an old version of yourself, the one you keep chasing as if only that version was real. We live looking backward, and because of that, each new day becomes not a beginning, but a continuation of what's already over. Many people think letting go means forgetting. But that's not true. Letting go means stopping the fight with what has already happened. It means no longer returning, again and again, to a place where nothing can be changed. And for the first time in a long while, simply allowing yourself to breathe. 1. Why we can't let go. The past holds us not because it's strong, but because we keep searching inside it for justice, closure, and answers. We think that if we can understand why it happened, the pain will finally fade. But the past never promised us logic. It simply happened. And the longer we keep searching for meaning in something already complete, the longer we stay stuck. Sometimes we hold on because we fear the emptiness that follows letting go. When you say goodbye to your past, you're left alone with the unknown. And that's terrifying. Who am I now, if not that person I used to be? What's left, if I stop thinking about what I've lost? But the truth is, it's in that very emptiness that new life begins. Nothing grows until the soil has been cleared. And we cannot build a new life while still living inside an old story. 2. Acknowledging pain doesn't mean living in it. People often confuse letting go with forgetting. But forgetting is impossible. What you can do is stop resisting. Stop hiding your pain behind distractions, noise, and constant movement. Because as long as you're running, your past runs right beside you. The first real step is to allow yourself to feel. Don't shame yourself for crying, for missing, for still hurting. Feelings aren't enemies. They're bridges between what was and what is. When you sit quietly and say to yourself, yes, it hurts. Yes, it mattered. But it's over now. In that moment, you begin to take your power back. You can't release what you refuse to acknowledge. Healing begins with truth. Yes, it happened. I can't change it. But I can choose how to live now. 3. Letting go means stopping the wait for a different ending. We often live in the hope of an alternative version of the past, that the person might return, that someone might finally understand, that life might apologize. We want to rewrite the story. But time doesn't go backward. True release isn't when the pain is gone. It's when you stop waiting for the past to become something else. Ask yourself, what am I still waiting for from what's already gone? If the answer is, I'm waiting for it to be different, then you're not living in the present. You're living in a memory. Let go of expectations. Not because you have to be strong, but because reality only begins where illusion ends. 4. Letting go isn't losing everything. Many people fear that if they let go, they'll diminish what was meaningful. That if they stop grieving, it means it didn't matter. But what's meaningful doesn't vanish. It simply changes form. The past remains a part of you, like a book you've already read. You can remember the story, the lines, the emotions, but you no longer need to live on its pages. Some people cling to their pain because it became part of their identity. I'm the one who was betrayed. I'm the one who failed. But that's not you. That's just a story you've been telling yourself. You can choose who you become next. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting the lesson. It means no longer being a lifelong student of the same pain. 5. How to begin letting go. Stop returning to places where you no longer exist. Every time you replay old scenes, you don't heal, you reopen the wound. Rewrite the story. Not by changing the facts, but by seeing them differently, not as tragedy, but as transition, as growth, as the experience that deepened you. Create a symbolic ending. Write a letter. Say thank you. Burn it. Release it. This isn't magic. It's simply a message to your mind. I choose to move on. Fill the space with something new. After you let go, there's always a vacuum. Don't rush to fill it with noise or activity. Fill it with presence. Ask yourself, what do I want now? Who am I without that story? Practice gratitude for what was. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered. The past isn't your enemy. It's a teacher whose class has ended. 6. What comes after letting go? When you finally release, it feels as if life exhales. You start noticing things that were invisible before. There's lightness, clarity, and space. Letting go isn't a single act. It's a process. Sometimes you'll think you're free, and then the pain returns. That's okay. As long as the heart remembers, it will revisit. But now you know, revisiting isn't the same as living there. Over time, you'll see that everything you lost was making room for what's next. You just couldn't see it while your hands were still full of yesterday. 7. Forgiveness as a form of freedom. Forgiveness isn't about saying it was right. It's about saying, I no longer want to carry this. When you forgive, you reclaim the energy trapped in the past. You stop being a prisoner of resentment. Because as long as you're angry, you're bound. Forgiveness isn't about being kind to others. It's about finally being kind to yourself. 8. Letting go is also a form of love. The paradox is this. To let go is to love. To love without clinging. To love without expecting. To love enough to allow something to exist, even without you. Because love isn't a chain, it's space. And when you release with love instead of bitterness, you become free. 9. Beginning again. After letting go, there's often a sense of emptiness. But that emptiness isn't absence, it's potential. It's the quiet soil from which new life grows. In that space, you can choose yourself again. Your life, your truth, your direction. Letting go of the past doesn't mean losing. It means no longer living in debt to yesterday. It's a return to presence, to freedom, to yourself. And maybe, one morning, you'll wake up and realize, the thing you once couldn't release no longer hurts. It's simply part of your story now. And in that softness, that lightness, life begins again. Real life. The one that's here, right now.